Occam's razor is often oversimplified to mean the simpler solutions are the best. However, this simplification does hide some of the key points about Occam's razor. So where do we start on Occam's razor? Well, though it's been come into widespread use in modern times, it actually dates back to William of Occam some 700 years ago. But even that was based upon the ideas of earlier philosophers going back as far as Aristotle. It's used to compare two ideas or hypotheses about a particular subject. The modern version of the razor is that, other things being equal, simpler explanations are better than more complex ones. Rather than the original, entities should not be multiplied unnecessarily. However, it shouldn't be taken as meaning simple explanations are always the right ones. Now, for instance, the ancient Greeks believed that there were basic elements such as earth, air, fire, and water, whereas we now think of water as being, at the molecular level, a combination of two hydrogen atoms and an oxygen atom. The ancient Greek idea is the simpler one, but we can split water into hydrogen and oxygen atoms, so the Greek idea falls apart on the first part of the razor, that other things being equal. And this is critically important. If one hypothesis has a greater weight of evidence behind it, then it should be accepted no matter how complex or simple each of the competing propositions are. That's the relatively easy part of the razor. Next is a little bit more complex. Understanding what simpler explanations are better than more complex ones means isn't just a case of accepting a simple explanation. Instead, about looking at how many assumptions each explanation makes about the subject in question. If we treat each assumption that's used as a child's building block, the more assumptions that are used to get to the eventual explanation, the more unsteady the tower that is built with those assumptions, and it becomes weaker as a result, and so the weaker the explanation is. A shorter tower, based upon fewer assumptions, is a simpler and more stable tower, and less prone to having one of those assumptions being discovered to be false. This means that extremely complex ideas can be more likely than apparently simple ones if, at each level of the complexity of the idea, based upon solid foundation evidence, not simply a whole bunch of ifs. And the final thing to be said about Occam's razor is it isn't an infallible guide to anything. It's more like a street light guiding us to the better and more logical route. Just because a hypothesis is complex and based upon a few assumptions doesn't actually make it flawed or necessarily wrong. All Occam's razor is implying is that it's less likely to be right. How those chances of being right can be increased by substituting those assumptions with evidence. For instance, if you go back to the ancient Greeks and try to tell them that water was made from hydrogen and oxygen, they would use Aristotle's logic to say your theory was unlikely due to the number of hypotheses used in the explanation. It's only with more recent discoveries in science these hypotheses being replaced by facts, so that water being made from atoms of hydrogen and oxygen becomes a more logical explanation. So there we have Occam's razor, where simple explanations being right isn't quite as simple as it seems.